What's going on, everyone? So I saw this little shot chart that I is circulating, and I wanted to share it with you all and kind of break it down a little bit because I think it's very interesting. So basically what you're looking at is all of the Laker players and the type of looks that they are getting against opposing defenses. So you have like shots open, shots light, shots heavy, basically the type of defenses and how the shots are for the Lakers. So shots open are like wide open shots, shots light are like lightly contested, and then shots heavy are heavily contested shots. And this chart is actually pretty surprising. So two of the leaders as far as like the heaviest shot attempts are Colin Castleton, which makes sense. I mean, all of his shots are in like double and triple teams at the rim, and he's at 64.3% out of everybody. Now, I don't think that that's really huge or impactful because, he's probably not seeing the court this year. If he does, it's very limited and just like spots where maybe AD has the night off or a Hayes has the night off, stuff like that. But the key players are, I think, very fascinating, right? So like you have Anthony Davis, who's only getting 31.6% of his shot attempts on heavy defense, right? And 42.1% on just shots wide open. So the Lakers are doing an excellent job getting him good quality looks. And then you have Christian Wood, who he struggled a little bit early on the first two games offensively, has really kind of rounded out and picked it up the last two games. He actually is the leader of like actual rotation guys. Again, Colin Castleton is number one, but he's not really going to be a player for the Lakers, if at all, this season. But Christian Wood definitely is. And his is 58.3% of his shot attempts have been heavy shots, right? And compared to wide open shots is 29.2%, and then light shots are 12.5%. Rui is at 42% heavy shots. So essentially what you're looking at is the guys that are essentially like towards the basket or taking most of their shot attempts at the rim, which Christian Wood is. They're heavily contested because, back in the paint, teams are, trying to collapse when guys are taking it inside, taking an interior. But like you look at like LeBron, and 45.5% of his shots are wide open. Now, a lot of his shot attempts are threes compared to what they were back in the day. So that is kind of interesting. But like Jalen Hood-Schifino, right? A lot of people have been very critical of him. And again, I don't know how much Jalen Hood-Schifino actually plays for the Lakers this year, but I could see him getting spot minutes here and there, especially if some of our guards get the nights off, because we don't have like a huge depth at the guard position. And he has 47.8% of his shot attempts are being heavily contested, which again, most of them are at the rim. This is a 20-year-old rookie, right? So I love this because I think it puts some of Jalen Hood-Schifino's just lack of offensive consistency. I think this puts it in perspective because he's only getting 17.4%, which means he has the fewest percentage out of anybody on the Lakers that is getting open shot attempts, right? So keep that in mind when you're thinking of Jalen Hood-Schifino. But as far as the actual rotation guys, D'Lo 20.8%, Gabe Vincent's at 40.9%, Reeves is at 46.2%, Demoy Hodge, again, not a guy that's going to be probably playing heavy minutes, but I wouldn't be shocked if he actually does. He's at 64.7%, so he's getting a lot of wide open looks. But Prince is at 45.5%, right? The reason I think D'Lo, Vincent, right, Reeves, and Prince are very important, or not so much D'Lo because I guess he's at 20.8%, but even his shots light. So that's why I kind of want to put him in this category. So basically, your top 3-point shooters: D'Lo, Vincent, Reeves, and Prince. they are all getting a lot of really good looks. That is very important for the Lakers this season, because the better looks that you're able to generate, the better percentage you're going to shoot. And you're talking about those four guys are going to be very likely 38 to 40% from three. D'Lo, Reeves, and Prince are easily 40% three-point shooters. And then Gabe Vincent should be around 38 to 40%. And we are generating excellent looks for those guys. Now, keep it in mind, it is preseason, right? So we can't get too crazy, too high on that. But also, Jackson Hayes is getting a lot of just wide open looks. And I think that is going to be very important for the Lakers as they move into the season and maybe even the playoffs. And the reason for that is Jackson Hayes is always going to be kind of an afterthought for teams, right? Say you have a unit out there of, let's say, D'Lo, Reeves, Prince, LeBron, and Hayes, right? You have to worry about LeBron James. You have to worry about Reeves, D'Lo, and their abilities to be three-level scorers and shoot the ball highly efficient. And then same thing with Taurean Prince, having to worry about him knocking down threes at a high efficiency level, right? So defenses are going to be so focused and hone in on those guys that having D'Lo, Reeves, and LeBron, or even if they're not all on the court at the same time, right? Like, let's say you just have like Reeves and LeBron. Their ability to play make is going to be very important, because that's going to get Jackson Hayes so many just wide open looks, so many just easy opportunities. It's going to put Jackson Hayes in such a great position to just constantly be a threat on the offensive side of the basketball, right? And he's constantly going to be this rim pressure threat. He's constantly going to be running at the rim. We have seen how good he is in the pick and roll. Him and D'Lo in that pick and roll is just absolute money. I mean, it's been butter, right? So I think Jackson Hayes is going to be a very important piece for the Lakers. He's been fantastic for the Lakers, and I don't expect anything otherwise going into the season and in the playoffs, just because the role that he is being asked to play is exactly Jackson Hayes, right? It's not like he's not having to play a role that is, you know, maybe a little out of his league, or that he has to adjust to, or he has to figure out. Like Christian Wood is kind of having to play a different role than he's usually used to or accustomed to. Jackson Hayes is playing the role of a 23-year-old athletic floor running center, right? Make the hustle plays, work hard, be high energy, rebound, be a constant rim runner, constant rim threat, stay in the dunker spot. It's easy for him. So I think he's going to have a lot of success, and he's going to get a lot of just second chance opportunities for the Lakers this season, a lot of just easy buckets for the Lakers this season, because he's going to constantly be an afterthought, as we are seeing based on the chart, because of just the type of players that the Lakers have that they could put around Jackson Hayes, right? Like, they're not worried about him as an offensive threat, because he's not an offensive threat, but he is an excellent rim runner and rim pressure, right? Like, that is very significant. Where Christian Wood, teams are worried about him when he gets the basketball, because he is an offensive threat. He does have the ability to be a efficient three-point shooter. So when he is out on the perimeter, teams are actually trying to contest it and trying to step out and defend it and worried about him. And when he gets inside the paint, teams are trying to collapse him. I mean, dude, teams have been defending Christian Wood like he's Anthony Davis down in the perimeter. I mean, they are triple teaming him down in the post when he gets the ball. Like, teams are taking him very serious. So it makes sense that he's up there in the heavier shot attempts compared to some of the other players, because a lot of his shot attempts have been more inside the paint, which is great, right? Because he's not settling. He's being aggressive. He's being physical. We've seen several of those like power dribble, aggressive moves towards the basket, which I love to see. We've seen him not settle at the 3-point line. He catches the ball out, gives a little pump fake, drives to the rim, slams it home. I love what we're seeing from Christian Wood in that regard. But teams are going to be focused when he's on the court, even with an alongside Christian Wood or Jackson Hayes, right? Teams are going to be focused on Christian Wood and are not going to be worried about Jackson Hayes. And that's going to put the Lakers in such a great spot, such a great shape. I just thought this was a really interesting chart. Now, I don't know how much it'll translate into the regular season, right? Because you got to imagine defenses will pick it up a little more, right? But I don't see it not translating very similar. Because, again, the Lakers are sharing the basketball. They're getting, 30 assists a game. And, they're getting guys wide open looks. Like, that's going to happen, especially when you're on the court with LeBron James, Austin Reeves, and D'Angelo Russell, 3 excellent playmakers, and you have so many offensive weapons, and you have Anthony Davis, who's just going to draw a world of attention when he gets the ball out on the perimeter, and he's a great passer out of the post. So, you're in a great spot if you're the Lakers. And that's why I thought that this was a very interesting graph and something that I wanted to share with you all. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What'd you think? How'd you feel? Do you think that this will translate well? Do you think it won't? Were there any that actually surprised you or anything? How do you feel? Let me know down in the comments.